You're listening to the VORTX Podcast, featuring interviews with your favorite artists. Here's your host, Ethan Jackson.
Hey, it's Ethan. Today, our guest is the great, the powerful Eric Bass from Shinedown. How are you doing, buddy?
Great, and powerful. That is, my wife would beg to differ, but yeah, man, I'm good, dude. How are you?
Good, man. Well, I would say great and powerful at this point. I mean, you're producing and engineering all the Shinedown stuff, and now you've
Yeah.
got solo material out as well. You are a very busy man with your hand on a lot of things.
Yeah, man. Well, it keeps me in a good place usually. Like the more stuff I have to do, man, the better my brain is for sure. So,
Oh, I feel that 100%. Well, hey, let's talk about this solo record, dude. Eric Bass
yep,
presents. I had a name. It comes out on February 28th, I believe.
yep.
First thing I want to ask you is why the Eric Bass presents instead of just releasing it as Eric Bass? Because to me, it feels like a movie, like a Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino film, like that kind of thing.
That was kind of the point. I mean, it's not. I mean, yes, it is a solo record, but it's really honestly more of like a rock opera. It goes with it coincides with a story that I'm writing, that I've been writing for a long time. And that book will come out next year, later next year, probably this time next year, probably last quarter. So it is this epic thing that I have in my brain, and this record is the soundtrack for it. The record doesn't flow. It is chronological, but it's not telling the whole story. It's just kind of scenes from the story, I guess. And from its inception, that's how I had it. Eric Bass presents whatever this thing is. I didn't know what the name of it was going to be at the time, but that was just always how it was in my brain. It was this sort of like I want it to be, epic and cinematic and all of these things, so that just made sense to me that that's how it was supposed to be. And besides, man, it's just kind of weird. Like I don't have one of those names where it's like, Tom Waits, or something like that, where it's like, oh, it's a Tom Waits record or Bruce Springsteen, it's like, it's just Eric Bass. And it's like, we were actually making the merch recently and they just had Eric Bass on the shirt. And I'm like, that just strikes me as odd, like my name on a shirt like that. So like, can we just do Eric Bass Presents on the shirt? Is that better? And the other thing too, man, is that kind of opens up for the future. It's like when I do something, that I feel like is, when I do something with just me again, it will be Eric Bass Presents, and even it doesn't have to be music necessarily either. Like I've got some ideas for some other things, that there's artistic projects that I have, and I'm presenting this to you. Here you go, do whatever you will with it. So that's where the presents came from, really.
That's awesome. You mentioned that like the songs are kind of telling little bits of the story that you've come up with. Where did the story come from in the first place? This whole world that you've kind of built.
Yeah, so some people will understand what I'm about to talk about. Some people won't and will think it's really strange, but it's real nonetheless. I was sitting in a hotel room in Milan, Italy, first European tour of the Attention record cycle. So this is a few years ago. This is probably 2018, I would imagine. Whatever year that record came out, I guess it came out in 18. But sitting in a hotel room, had just finished a workout. And I was kind of cooling off, and I was watching a couple of YouTube things, and this voice that wasn't my voice, like it literally, like, this thought did not come from me, just said, you might want to write this down. Literally, that's what it's like right now, while you have a second, grab a pen and paper, because this is important, whatever this thing is. And the universe does that, man. It when it's ready for something to be born, it tells you, and if you don't take it and do it, someone else is going to. So it was pretty important, and so I grabbed my journal that I write all my lyrics and ideas in, and poems and stories and whatever, and just started writing. And I spent the next 2 hours writing what actually ends up being the prequel to the story that I'm writing about now. But at the time, I didn't know that's what it would end up being. It's kind of the precursor story. And I didn't realize how important that was going to be to the current story. You really, if you have a rich backstory and you know where everything comes from, you can really write something, I think, that with a lot of depth to it. So, man, I just there's this voice that told me to write it down. So I did that. And then as we continued on the attention cycle, I was writing, I was kind of developing the fact that, okay, these next in line characters are kind of the ones that are more interesting to me. And I started working more on the story, and then I had some music that I'd been working on tour, and tracks and melodies, and maybe a couple of lyrical ideas that maybe some of them stuck, maybe some of them didn't because they didn't apply. But I went to Brent and I was like, hey, are you ready to start writing a new Shinedown record? And he said, absolutely not. I said, okay, well, because I have these things and I'm going to use them for this other thing. And he's like, knock yourself out. And because, I always want all of my stuff to go to Shinedown first. That's just, how I've always done it. So all of my ideas, but everybody, my entire band was just like, go ahead and, pursue this thing, do what you want to do. So I started working on the music kind of simultaneously, and then the music, when pandemic happened, it gave me a chance to finish it, to really like dig in on it and work on it, and so the record has actually been finished. I finished the last mix on that record a couple of days before Brent and I started writing what would be Planet Zero. So
Okay.
it's really this thing that's sandwiched between Attention and Planet Zero. And it does have elements of that in certain ways too. Like
Yeah.
you'll kind of hear, like, I mean, not unintentionally, of course, but like, there are these things that are maybe congruent to Attention and Planet Zero as well. But and the story has just been, story is not something that you can rush. I work on the dialogue and the story, um, a few times a month, and but the story is I think is really compelling, and is again, that stuff will be out, late next year. So
That's awesome. So I'm curious about the music videos. I know you've got a new one coming out today for Azalea.
yep.
Are they like snapshots of the graphic novel? Like, is it a recreation of scenes in the graphic novel? How are the
Some
music
of it
videos
is.
reflective of it?
Some of it is it's interesting when you have a something that's been, this story's been animated in my head the whole
Hmm.
time. Like I see these characters as animated individuals and drawings, and also the interesting thing is I see them in motion, which is kind of dangerous when you're writing a graphic novel. Like you you want to think in panels, right? Not in motion, but I can't help myself but think about it like everything's in motion and moving. So I it's uh sorry, something fell in it. Like I don't know if it fell in your place or my place, but I heard something fall, so it's gonna
I don't think
ruin
I
my
heard
train
any
of
over
thought.
here. No, you're fine.
It was probably in here. I was making sure somebody hadn't walked in. Um, but anyway, so yeah, so I see these animated characters, and they uh now how do I take that and tell this snapshot of a story with live action actors playing these characters now, and physically things that would have to be completely and totally CGI to make happen. How do I do this? How do I do this thing? So that's been really interesting. So what we end up with is Mind Control, which is the single and the first video that came out. That's me playing the villain, this guy named Devarin. And I just decided that I looked enough like him, and I should probably, for that song, it would make sense for me to play the character to
Yeah.
sing the thing. But I'm playing that character, and basically this guy has a he has to rely on the populace to accomplish his goals, but he really doesn't like them very much, and he mind controls them. Thus the name. He has this saying, it's very very dystopian. It's take your vitamins and sing your anthems. So he wants you to. He has these vitamins that the government provides for everybody to take every night
Mm.
and every morning, and then a few times a day there's like this sort of call to prayer that happens where the populace has to sing these anthems to the government. And so I was like, how do I, in a metaphoric way, how do I tell this story? And it was like, well, I could do mannequins for the population and then have him literally light them on fire at some point, which is what it's talking about in the song. He says that, I'll just, you can't help yourselves. I can help you. And while I'm at it, I think I'll, drown you all in gasoline and light you on fire. So, and then at the end of the song, he is a conflicted character too throughout the story where he is uh, he feels like he's being controlled by something as well at certain points, and he doesn't really. He'll have these moments of clarity where he's like, "Why am I doing what I'm doing?" But I'm driven to do this. I can't not do it, but I'm not really sure what's going on. And when you read the story, it'll make more sense. But that's what the end of the song is about. He's having this reflective moment where and then metaphorically, I was like, well, he could light himself on fire at the end, in a metaphoric way. So that's kind of how the videos have been. It's how do I take this story and just give people enough of an idea of what's going on when I can't give them a literal idea of what's going on. And I kind of don't want to because I don't want to give the story away either.
Right.
The Azalea video is it's her on the run. That's what the song is. She's Azalea is a character who is she's the last of her kind, basically. She was raised as she comes from this sect of female warrior monks, and they're very religious. And her mother was killed by Devarin and his government, and and so were the rest of her people, but her mother was really the last one to go before, and she's it. And she's thrown off all of her religion and all of her faith traded that to be an assassin and assassinate everyone who had anything to do with her mother's death. And,
Yeah.
and so all of her powers that she has and everything else, she's kind of thrown off. And they're very powerful people, these warriors, but she just uses guns and this kind of thing now. And so she's on the run for her life. She's assassinated someone and she's on the run. So that's, she at the end, ends up being able to muster enough power using this gift that her mother gave her to escape, basically. So, I was able to tell that one's a little more literal to the story and literal to what happens in the story. There's a lot of nuance to her being on the run. Of course, I can't fit into a 3-minute, 4-minute song.
Yeah.
And it's a much longer process in the story. She doesn't really get away as cleanly, I guess, as she does in the video. But again, it's having to go, okay, what are my capabilities? How can I relay this enough of what this is in this story and make it cool and make it fun for people, and also leave people guessing, because they'll get done. They're 5 videos that I've filmed, and eventually they'll all play out like a 20-minute, 20-minute film,
Mm-hmm.
And with little vignettes in between and that kind of thing. And it'll give people enough of an idea and it'll make them intrigued without giving the story away. And the record does that too. The record doesn't give the story away. The record kind of makes a lot of people have told me that they get a story out of the record. They kind of understand what's happening. But at the end of the day, I think they'll find out that there's a lot more to what's going on than they think, which is fun actually, because you kind of figure out, you think you have everything figured out, and then you read something like, oh, I didn't have that figured out at all. It was this, it was something completely different. So the videos have been, it's been interesting to try to meld this musical idea of snapshots with animated things that I don't have time to tell the nuance of everything and try to make them come together into something. So it's been fun.
Right. You mentioned the animated aspects of it. I think I saw a clip, you and John, the podcast that you guys do, talking about how you had to teach yourself how to do visual effects and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
how has
yeah.
that challenge been, adding extra layers to all of this on top of the music and the graphic novel and everything?
Yeah, I have trust issues, man, about I just do, it seems like anytime that I rely on someone else for something, it never ends up being the way I want it to be. And not that I have the capabilities in my brain to do the VFX the way that they probably should be done. I think it looks good, but I probably did it all sorts of different weird ways that I shouldn't do it. But yeah, man, I just taught myself how to do it. I had these certain things I wanted to see. We're filming these things in Charleston, South Carolina, in the United States of America in 2024, and I'm trying to put you on a world that is nothing like any of those things, right? And we have all these jokes. There are no cars in space. There are no dogs in space. There are no, like when you're filming these things, it's very challenging. It's like I have to film this stuff, but like I can't see a car in the frame. I can't see, a U-Haul sign in the background, which happened on one of the scenes, and I had to again, I was able to kind of, VFX it out, right? but it makes it challenging to kind of turn your hometown into another world. Um, but I had these certain things I wanted to see that would make this otherworldly. One of the things is Azalea's escape. There's some other things in the sky. When you look at the sky, there's some other kind of alien looking things happening, and I needed those things to be there, and I just dug in and decided I was going to teach myself how to do it, and read a bunch of stuff, watched a bunch of YouTube, and I would say that out of the 12 to 13, 14 hours a day I was working on this stuff, on that video, that probably 6 of those hours every day was taken up with me just pulling my hair out and watching tutorials and trying to figure out why doesn't this work? It's supposed to work, and what
Right.
and I'm in this program that is not very intuitive. I won't go into the details of that and bore everybody with why it's not intuitive, but it doesn't operate in a way that my brain likes. So I literally have just had to kind of twist my brain around to be able to do these things a little bit. But I think it looks really good in the end. It accomplished the mission, and I was able to do it myself, which makes me really proud. And it goes along with the making the record myself and singing everything and writing everything and producing everything and mixing everything. And then I was not by any means the director of photography on the videos. This guy Owen Hamilton is the director of photography. He's super talented. And Sanjay Parikh, who is our band's videographer, filmed a lot of things as well, did a lot of the camera work. I didn't have a camera in my hand. I did on a couple of things, actually. Very minor things, but I needed to get some footage I didn't have, and I filmed some things myself. But doing all of the editing myself, I've never really edited anything. Mind Control is the first video I've ever edited, and I think it turned out pretty well. And Azalea is way more in depth with the editing and way more in depth with the length of the video and the story and everything, but I think it's turned out really well. So, working on the next ones right now. So, it's a challenge, man. And I enjoy that too. It's like, I just enjoy making things at the end of the day. I'm a maker, I guess. And I made all the props for all this stuff, like the cane that Devarin has in the Mind Control video. I made that.
Oh yeah.
The Azalea video has a lot of guns and tech devices and stuff, and I made those, and prop making's fun. I enjoyed that too. So I just got a lot of enjoyment out of it, man. Trying to make something and leave something to the world that perhaps one day people will, or maybe today, someone will find some healing and pleasure from, or whatever. So
No, that's rad. And then in the midst of all of this, working on the videos and everything, you're also producing the new Shinedown record.
yeah.
So you've got so much going on. Where are you guys at with the album now?
I would say right now we are. Let me think about this here. Let me find a good number for you. We're probably 2/3 of the way through writing,
Yeah.
and we're probably halfway through recording, and a quarter of the way through mixing. So like we're just kind of doing
Yeah.
it sort of along and along. It's like we have some things that are pretty much completely done. A couple of songs that are completely wrapped, and I've got some mixing to do this week. Actually, Barry and Zach are showing up to do some recording tomorrow. They show up tomorrow, and we record on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I got some mixing to do on that stuff. While I'm video editing and everything else. So, but the Shinedown record will be out next year for sure, without a doubt. So, not sure when, not sure what the timeline is on that yet, but it will definitely be out. And there will definitely be new music out prior to that, of course, as
Yeah.
singles and that sort of thing. So
That's awesome. One of those is 365, right? That you guys premiered like a month ago.
yeah, Brent and I we were doing a dog rescue, like a fundraiser show for dog rescue in Phoenix, I think it was. Yeah. And right before we went on, it was like, hey, let's, you want to play the new song? And I was like, yeah, sure. It was interesting because I had some arm surgery, right? So I snapped my bicep tendon a few months ago, and I had to have surgery to reattach it. And that was the first time I'd played guitar since that happened. And it was very, I didn't play it very well. My hand was kind of not wanting to cooperate, but we got through it, and I think people like it. I think he and Zach played it again at something else. They played it at one of the at a show somewhere. So there are a couple different versions of it out there. But I love the recorded version of that song, which is one of the ones we pretty much got finished and wrapped at this point. The vibe of it is really great, man. I love it. Like it's super. I don't know. It feels fresh to me, and when Brent and I wrote it, it was like, it felt good from the beginning, and so. I'm excited about that one, man. That's gonna be good. And we got some really good heavy songs too coming too. Like I said, it's not all just like
Yeah.
with Shinedown. Some of it's mid tempo, some of it's ballad, some of it's heavy. And
Yeah.
we got some really good heavy stuff coming too. So
Well, you guys do both really well. Like I think I was looking today at Media Base. Symptom of Being Human was the number one active rock song for the year.
yeah, man, that was and the interesting thing is we were told that song would never work at Active Rock and not even to
Yeah.
try. We were also told that song would never work at Top 40 radio and to not
Yep.
even try. It's interesting what the people around you who aren't artists and who are who doubt your capabilities, what they'll tell you. And I'm being very serious. Like
Yeah.
those are things that we heard, and like uh, uh, we had to fight back against those things. It's interesting how sometimes you have to fight against the people who are supposed to be helping you, because they don't
Right.
believe in something. But that and I didn't know that stat until yesterday about Symptom. So, that's a testament to our fan base, man. It's a testament to everyone out there who loves what we do, and we really appreciate it, man. That a song like A Symptom of Being Human, which is not a banger necessarily. It's a banger in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it becomes the number one active rock song of the year. That's a true testament to the people that love what we do, man. And we owe them everything.
Yeah. It's cool being able to even hear that song. Like I was grocery shopping one day and it's playing in the grocery store, and,
Yeah.
and when you think about like grocery store stuff, you're thinking about like early 2000s, kind of mellow, chill
Yeah.
kind of music. But like, and then all of a sudden the new Shinedown songs and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like
Yeah,
it's cool that it's reached so many different spaces.
it is, man. And it's again, it's a testament to music, not really to Shinedown so much. I
Yeah.
mean, music is there if you can. We're given these gifts as we're writing songs.
Mm.
365 feels like one of those too, and where you're writing and it just kind of happens, and it just kind of happens quickly and comes from somewhere else. It's like the story I think I was telling you about that voice. It's like we're just antennas for these things. We're not, I'm not that brilliant. It's like I'm just here to accept whatever comes along and be able to lay it out um, it's just a testament to the fact that if you can capture something like that, that's why they call it lightning in a bottle. It's not, you're capturing it.
Yeah.
You're not forcing it in there, and you're not creating the lightning. You're just grabbing whatever comes by. And when those things want to be born, man, they happen. And yeah, a song like like a Second Chance or Symptom of Being Human, or again 365 hopefully has the same type of traction. We'll see. But man, it's really nice. Those are the moments I nerd out on, actually. Like I don't really uh um I don't hear our songs on the radio too much. I'm usually in here working on something, but every once in a while I'll be in Lowe's, right? And you'll hear like Second Chance in Lowe's, or you'll hear Symptom of Being Human in a grocery store in Lowe's or
Yeah.
Home Depot or something. And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. It's like, and then you kind of get this like weird, like incognito feeling, like all these people listen to this song and they have no idea that I'm the guy that wrote it. It's like, it's interesting. It's an interesting place to be. It's a really great feeling. It's a really great feeling to those are like I said, it's kind of strange, but those are the moments that kind of have it hit home for me more than even playing a show for thousands of people. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I guess those unexpected things, right?
Absolutely. I think that what was premiering 365 like that, was it the first time you guys have ever played a song before its official release?
No,
Or one of the first times?
yeah, probably one of the first times. I know that the band played some of the stuff off of Sound of Madness prior to that
Right,
record
right.
coming out. Yeah, the song Sound of Madness, the song Devour, were a couple of them that got played. Maybe What a Shame might have gotten played prior to. But it doesn't happen very often, and it was just sort of it was a cool event to do it at. It was just really, just decided we literally decided we talked about it before we went on, and I was like, we'll just see what happens, and then we got up there, and He was like, "You want to do it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'll butcher this
Yeah.
song right now with my hurt arm, and I can't play it. But
Well, I'll
nobody
tell you
cared.
what,
It was great.
people are loving it, dude. I was watching it even this morning. I pulled up YouTube real quick to give it a look again, and um, checked out the comment section. And I'll tell you what, you've got, a bunch of people that are already talking about, connections they had with family members who've passed away. They're already
Yeah.
connected to the song, and they don't even have the full version yet. It's just
Yeah.
somebody's iPhone recording. And so even with it not being released, it's already starting to touch people, which I think is cool.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And that's how the song came about. I mean, I've had personally a rough few years. My family and I have had a rough few years of you know, losing lots of family members, and my sister-in-law passed away from cancer. My father passed away from brain cancer. My aunt, who was practically, it was my second mother. I mean, she passed away suddenly. It's just a sort of compounding thing that kept happening, and you're just kind of waiting on the next shoe to drop all the time. Like, it's like, well, now this has happened. What else? And then the next thing would happen, and it really beat me down and beat my family down really, really hard. And I hadn't really been able to articulate those things at all. And Brent and I were sitting here, and I one of us said something. I might have said something. I don't know if I said a lot can happen in a year. And that was kind of the aha moment. It's like, and then we started writing about that, and he may have very well said a lot can happen. I don't remember who it was that said it. Everybody's version of a songwriter session is different, but one of us said it, and I had this, I had the guitar lick for it, and I had the verse melody already kind of flushed out, and we just started working on it, and it happened pretty quick, man. And it was really nice to be able to be able to articulate that feeling, of loss, and getting through the loss, and realizing that where you are right now, well, it's absolutely isn't going to be where you're going to be in 365 days, but it's going to look a lot different than you think it can look a lot different than you look back to last year. Last year I had my aunt, I had my grandmother's house was still there. Like that might sound strange to people too. That's another one of the losses, right? It's like this house that was in our family for 60 years. We had to close up in 30 days, and move everything out, and it was like another loss, like another death almost. Now, like, that's where we spent Christmas every year. Now this Christmas we're not. My mother is getting older now that my dad's passed, and we're not sure that my house that I grew up in is gonna be here next year, at this point.
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, it's like a lot can happen in a year. You got, and so being able to kind of bottle that and put it into a form that feels really natural and good is and there's something else about it too, man. It's like anytime that you try to contrive a song, it doesn't work. Like anyone who sets out to write the perfect song never writes the perfect song. It's those ones that just sort of organically come to you, and you're able to just kind of grab it as it's passing by and put it together, and not all of them are going to be that, but every once in a while you get one that where I feel like I've written a great song. And honestly, man, I talked to Brent about that. Brent's like, I knew Symptom was this. I was like, I didn't, like I was just, I guess I don't think about it that way, but it kind of bothers me a little bit that I'm thinking about 365 in that way, because I usually don't. But 365 is personal to me in a different way than Symptom was.
Right.
Symptom was about about my headspace and about what it feels like to be trapped inside of a depressive moment, right?
Yeah.
And that's different than writing about everything that you love disappearing, and looking back and going, man, a lot has happened this year, so maybe it's a different kind of attachment to the song, maybe. But yeah, man, we're excited about it, and it's cool to be able to talk about it before people actually hear the full version of it, because again, we don't do that often. So
No, it's cool. Well, hey, I just want to say thanks, man. I really appreciate your time today, and I'm looking forward to hearing the full record. Eric Bass Presents. I Had a Name coming out February 28th. Are you gonna have like vinyl and all of that along
yeah,
with
man.
the album?
So I believe today the web store went live. So it was Friday. So I believe now you can get vinyl and bundles and CDs, and there's some merch up there. There will be more merch that comes up. But yeah, I'm doing vinyl. And which I'm really excited about. That was kind of the point from the beginning, was like, if I do nothing else, man, I want to do vinyl. And I decided to do CDs as well because, I'm still a fan of a physical record. That's what I call it, a record. You have a physical record of something that exists, something you made. And I like the fact that the ones and zeros on a CD aren't, dependent on the internet. It's like if the internet goes down, you can still put the CD in to a CD player and listen to it, So or vinyl on a record player. So I'm always pretty adamant about it. That's why Shinedown we still sell CDs and stuff.
Oh yeah.
'Cause we want people to be able to enjoy it in all ways. So yeah, man. So all that stuff will be there, and I'm working on some cool stuff for toward the book release at the end of next year, some different merch ideas and stuff to go along with it. And again, this is a very visual experience, so it makes sense for that stuff to be in there. And my buddy Rob Pryor is the artist who created everything for the and his apprentices at his studio created most of this artwork with me, and you get to see that beautiful stuff in the album artwork as well. So
that's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. What's the website?
EricBassPresents.com.
Perfect.
And Eric Bass Presents on YouTube. Eric Bass Presents on X. eBass Prod on Instagram is my Instagram. That's the only thing I've ever really used is that. So and I do most of my communication through my Instagram through eBass Prod. But yeah, so there you go, man. Everybody can check everything out there. Again, all the videos are up on the YouTube page, and I want everyone to enjoy them, please. So
absolutely. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Ethan. Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening to the VORTX Podcast. Catch Ethan inside the Vortex every Sunday night from 9 to midnight on Topeka's Rock Leader, V100.